And hello there folks, this is Uncle Troy. We're having some minor camera problems, so the video part of the video log is not going to be very good today. Ha ha ha. Okay, we're still coming up on the 500 subscriber milestone, I guess you should say. And if you haven't, check out our featured video on the channel, which is about the special I'd like to do for the 500 subscribers, but I need your help. So if you can send in some short video clips, audio clips, just an email, picture, anything like that that I can use to make a 500 subscriber special out of things sent to me by my 500 subscribers, that'd be just keen. Just remember to send it YouTube private message, upload a video response to this video or that video, or send me an email, and be sure to have 500 in the subject line so I know what it's all about. Okay, first things first, let's say hello to some new subscribers. And I called this vlog entry Receipts of Laziness because it wasn't until I was cleaning up the truck and realized just how many receipts from fast food places I have. Apparently I just cannot leave work or come home from a day on the town without stopping somewhere and getting some fast food. So that's a laziness on my part, and it's bad for my health, and I really need to work on that. So I'm going to try not to eat out so often. But I was going to zoom in on something interesting here just to show you. Notice that these receipts are from a place called McDonald's, which you may or may not be familiar with. And notice that instead of McDonald apostrophe S, it is McDonald upside down LC with a little accent mark underneath it, 0 with a little umlaut above it, S. In other words, they've got the wrong font or something going on their printers for their receipts. And it's not just this one either. Watch. As you can see, it is on all of them. Every receipt I've ever gotten from this particular restaurant. And I have offered to fix this for them. I've offered to, download the latest font file or something for them. And of course they say, no, you can't do that. Only the franchise authority can make changes to our registers. And I can understand that, being a good rule to have. But still, it just strikes me as odd as a computer geek that no one has noticed this aside from me, and no one has tried to fix it. Because it just seems, if I was running a business, I'd want to at least pretend to be professional. I'd at least want to pretend to get things right, like the receipts. In the last video, I talked about Evil Dead 2013, a remake of the Evil Dead 1981, I believe it was. And I talked about how I didn't care as much for the remake as I did the original, because the remake had none of the comedy elements that I enjoyed from the original. Now, the comment I got on that video was that I was mistaken, that the original, the Evil Dead 1981, did not have any comedy elements. That was only introduced in Evil Dead 2. And doing a quick check of the internet leads me to believe that a lot of people on the internet have that same opinion, that the original Evil Dead 1981 edition did not have any comedy. Now, I admit that it was not designed to be a comedy. It was not slapstick. It was not over the top. The violence was not cartoony. But that's not what I mean by comedy. That's not what I mean by me getting a chuckle out of the movie. I know that the original, The Evil Dead 1981, was supposed to be a straight horror movie, but I still found it funny anyway. And that may just be my sense of humor. It may just be me having an odd way of looking at life. But let's just take the first, say, 5 minutes of the movie, I think, when the spoiler alert, people. But the first 5 minutes of the movie, when they're in the car and they haven't even reached the cabin yet, which is something that the Evil Dead 2013 completely glossed over. It's movie started, you're at the cabin. But in the original 1981 version, the movie started and you was in the car with the friends as they were wandering through the backwoods of Tennessee looking for this cabin. And I found that scene very funny because I have been on road trips through the backwoods of Tennessee with my family, and it just reminded me of things. For example, when Ash looks at the map and says something along the lines of, well, I think we just passed into Tennessee, that just struck me as funny because I remember on family vacations when we'd take a road and just see where it went, and sometimes we'd end up in a different state. So I just found that funny. And then the part about where the the steering wheel rips out of his hands and they almost go head on into a logging truck. Well, I've been on backcountry roads and almost went head on into logging trucks. But also the conversation they had afterwards about, well, I just paid for a tune-up. They checked everything. Well, you better get your money back. I've had that exact same argument. Then they started arguing about the cabin and how they'd rented it sight unseen. Oh no, the salesperson said this is perfect for us. I mean, that sort of thing just struck me as funny, and I got several good chuckles out of that. All right, then when they're going across the bridge, and this is another spoiler, and the slat underneath the tire falls out, and you think for a second that the car is going to go off into the creek. The look on everybody's faces tell me that wasn't supposed to be funny. I'm sure it's supposed to be horror, and it's supposed to be everybody's horrified that, oh my God, we're about to drown. But the looks on everybody's faces, I laugh out loud every time I watch that section. So that's what I mean by comedy elements in the original The Evil Dead 1981 that I did not see in Evil Dead 2013. So that's what I mean by that. Now, I'm not saying Evil Dead 2013 wasn't a good movie. It was a good horror movie. I just don't think it was a good, Evil Dead movie. I don't think it was a good movie with horror with comedy elements. Now, maybe it's just that somebody with a newer outlook on life, someone who's a lot younger than me, can watch the Evil Dead 2013 and see the same sort of things that I saw in the original 1981 version and find them funny, because I'm just too old or something. Maybe. Don't know. Okay. Also, going back to something from an older video, I talked about a doctor's appointment and how I went to the doctor, expecting disappointment, and I actually ended up not too bad, actually. It worked out pretty well, I thought, at the time. Of course, I did come back looking like a human pincushion because they had to stab me something like 4 times to get 2 little vials of blood to send off for some tests. And then I waited patiently for the results to come in. So I was a bit surprised when I checked the mail and I found 4 different envelopes. Let me see if I can find the 4 different sheets of paper here. Rattle, rattle. So I found an envelope that had my, actually that's an invoice from something else. Okay, so it had the results of my lab work, which I admit, this lab work is not great, but for my age and for my medical history, I think it's pretty good. My total cholesterol, good cholesterol, triglycerides, all in the normal range. My low-density lipids, bad cholesterol, is a little high, but overall my cholesterol is pretty good. And my hemoglobin A1C, which should be 7% or less, is about 8.8, which is high and higher than they want a diabetic to be, but once again, it is lower than it has been. So, I got that in the mail. So I thought, okay, well, here's my lab results. What are these other envelopes? So I opened up the second envelope, and it was to remind me that I had an appointment with my gastroenterologist in a few days. Okay, good. And then I opened up the next envelope, and it reminded me I had a appointment with my podiatrist, my foot doctor, for my diabetic foot exam. Okay, fine and dandy. And then I opened up the fourth envelope, and it said to inform you that we scheduled an appointment with an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor, for my diabetic eye exam. So that was that. And then so I looked and I went back and I thought, wait a minute, why are they sending me four letters? So I looked at all the letters, and they were all dated on the same day, April 2nd, and they were all postmarked on April 3rd, which meant somebody at that doctor's office sat down and filled out 4 different letters and put them in 4 different envelopes and took them to the post office or ran them through their postage machine or whatever, 4 different postage stamps, just to tell me about my lab results and my doctor's appointments. And for some reason that struck me funny. Just like the receipt from McDonald's at the start of this video, this struck me as funny, and I had to have a good chuckle. And then I thought, well, on second thought, if they're this backwards, well, no wonder they can't keep track of my prescriptions sometimes. Now, I have often joked that doctors like to treat me like I'm a rat in a maze, and they like to keep moving my cheese. Telling me you need to do this, and then when I start doing that, say, no, 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 that's the worst thing you could possibly do for your health. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this, back and forth. So the only doctor of those several doctors that I have appointments set up for that I've seen so far is the gastroenterologist, or the stomach and colon doctor. And he started talking to me about things I needed to do for my colon health. And I could not get it across to him that many of the things he was telling me directly contradict my things I'm doing for my diabetic health. To keep my diabetes under control, I have to watch what I eat. I have to eat things that don't have a lot of processed sugars. I can't eat like lots of fruits, because fruits have a lot of fructose sugars, which are easily converted into sugar into the bloodstream. I have to not eat a lot of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very easily converted into sugars in the bloodstream, and these things raise my blood sugar, so I have to keep these things low. However, for good colon health, for my digestive tract to be in good shape, according to this doctor, I need to eat lots of grains, lots of things with carbohydrates, starches, anything in them, because that adds bulk to your stool and helps clean your colon out. And I need to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and of course vegetables is no big deal. Diabetics like to eat lots of vegetables, but he wants me to eat a half a cup of fruit every day. But a half a cup of fruit every day has a lot of sugar in it. So I need, what I would really like to do is I would like to get my diabetic doctor and my colon doctor together in the same room and have them argue amongst themselves about what I should be eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then, then come to me with a plan that should be, what I should eat, because let's go through these papers again here. Where is it here? Somewhere in here is a dietary guidelines. And basically, if this dietary guidelines thing they gave me is considerably different than the dietary guidelines that my diabetic doctor gave me. But basically, the low-carb, high-protein diet I'm on for my diabetes, according to my colon doctor, is the worst thing I could be eating for my colon. Now, one thing both doctors agree to is that I need to stop having a truck full of McDonald's and Hardee's and Arby's and other receipts from where I stop every night on the way home from work and, eat out. They all agree I should do that, but nobody can really agree what I should be cooking at home while I'm cooking at home. And thanks to my gastroenterologist, I now know a new word. The new word is colonoscopy. And if you don't know what a colonoscopy is, don't Google it. Don't try to find out what it is. If you have gone through life without needing a colonoscopy or knowing what one is, then continue your life of blissful ignorance. But next week, probably before the next video log, I will be blah, 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 2, 3, 4. I get flustered just thinking about it. I have mail. I get flustered just thinking about it, but next week I'm going to go in for a colonoscopy. And this procedure, I'm told, is necessary and vital for my continued health, and it will let us know what, if anything, is wrong in my colon and what, if anything, needs to be done to fix that. And I'll try to post another video either before or after that to tell you how it's going. The process for preparing for a colonoscopy. Where's my piece of paper? I have way too much paper here. Yeah, 2 days prior to the procedure, I have to drink a bottle of magnesium citrate, whatever that is, and drink only, clear liquids, which is juices without pulp, apple, white grape, water, coffee, tea, Jello, Coke, Sprite, ginger ale, Dr. Pepper, Gatorade, flavored waters, clear broth or bouillon, and popsicles. Oh boy, I get to eat popsicles. That reminds me of another story I need to tell you. But about half this stuff here on this list of clear liquids that I'm supposed to have before this procedure are things that the gastroenterologist told me never to drink. For example, he's taken me off all Cokes, coffees, and teas, flavored waters, energy drinks, Gatorade, that sort of thing. So basically, I'm left with water, which I cannot drink. Well, I mean, water has no nutrients. If I drink nothing but water, I'm going to starve to death if I'm on a clear liquid diet for 2 days. And juices without pulp, apple, white grape, etc. Well, I told you again, fresh fruit it raises blood sugar because it contains sugars that are easily converted into sugars in the bloodstream. Now, one thing that makes fresh fruit better than fruit juice is that fresh fruit has the pulp. It has some fiber in it, and that slows down the absorption of the sugar into the bloodstream. But clear liquids indicates no pulp, which means bad, bad, bad. So keeping my blood sugar in check while I'm doing this for 2 days is going to be a problem. And anyway, after drinking the magnesium citrate, the next day we're going to do something called movie prep, and that MOVIPREP, movie prep, which means we're not prepping for a movie, but we're prepping to move my colon, apparently. And this stuff, I believe I've been told that when you start taking this stuff, be no more than 5 feet from a bathroom. So then I will go in for my colonoscope the next day, colonoscopy, whatever, and then I will have a better idea of what's going on in my body, probably better idea than I ever wanted to have. So I'll leave that with, I'll leave you with thoughts of colonoscopes. If you've ever had one, let me know how that turned out. I'm a little freaked out about it, I have to be honest. So if you don't know what one is, don't worry about it. You're probably too young to be worrying about it. All right. Thank you for listening to me. Again, reminder, we have the 500 subscriber special coming up. I need your video clips, audio clips, pictures, emails, just something so that I can make a 500 subscriber special about things that my subscribers have sent to me. So please send that in, and be sure to use a subject line with 500 in it so I know what it's for. You can send a YouTube private message, or my email is on my YouTube page or on my website. Okay, Uncle Troy signing out. Please have a good night.